So we just finished up 1 through 4. We had kind of left on a cliffhanger, and this is how Dickens would publish his novels. He published them in articles, some of them. So they would come out in the newspaper weekly. You'd have several chapters, and people would get to read that, and he'd always leave it on a cliffhanger. He knew exactly what he was doing because, remember, he grew up writing and publishing articles, and he grew up learning how to write from a very young age. So we purposefully left it on a cliffhanger. And today we found out, well, this week we found out who this mystery man is who's been buried alive for 18 years.
I thought it meant literally buried.
Yeah.
Literally buried alive.
I thought it was a
I mean, it kind of was.
He was buried alive in a room.
Huh?
He was just put in jail.
Let's discuss it. Now I have to, let me make sure, because I want to make sure that I leave enough time for the quiz.
Oh, I love quizzes. Lord,
This
dude.
kind of throws me off today since it's, let me see. I want to give you guys at least 30 minutes, but, okay, yeah, okay. All right, so we'll take maybe 15 minutes to discuss this. Maybe 20 minutes. So let's go to chapter 5, yes.
He was buried alive, but he was above the ground.
Symbolically buried alive, right?
Why couldn't they put him in a basement so he was more like buried
All right,
alive?
let's talk about it. So chapter 5, beginning in chapter 5, we have once again an opening, and this is very descriptive and it's very important. This actually foreshadows a lot of what's going to happen throughout the book and what had happened throughout history. So we have the scene. Give me some descriptors from this scene that kind of paint the picture of what it's looking like.
Red wine.
Red wine.
People giving wine to babies.
People giving wine to babies.
People scrambling. in chaos.
Scrambling desperately, right? Desperately for what?
Wine.
This spilt wine. Okay? A giant cask of wine, which is immensely enormous.
Probably.
Enormous, like the size of an incredibly large closet.
Can we
Full
drown
of
John
wine.
in it?
You could drown in it. You
We
could.
drowned Grace.
It's spilt, and the people are so desperate, so poor, so starving, and so depressed that they all rush out. And then what do they start to do?
Lap it up.
Go to the ground to try to get some of the wine in their
People put
hands to
stuff-
sip it, getting down on the ground, sipping it up like a
Stuff
dog.
from their hair on the ground, and then they put the stuff that was in the wine on their head,
Rags.
and they got wine in their hair.
Kill the
Trying to,
bacteria.
yes, desperately trying to salvage any of this wine that they possibly can, even giving it to their children. What does that tell us about the state of things that are happening?
They don't really like their kids.
Don't.
Well, I think it's the opposite. If you're giving the wine instead to your child rather than you, and you guys you're starving.
It's
This-
an infant.
What does wine do if you're a person who is going through immense suffering and immense starvation? What will it do, at least in part for you?
It'll drunk you.
Dull some of the senses, yeah.
Ease the pain.
Some brings a little bit of relief or comfort, maybe just temporarily. So giving it to their children, they think that they're providing some relief to these starving, probably diseased, flea-bitten people, right? So that's the state of things. It's insanely impoverished and people are starving, but they're celebrating over this spilled wine, this deep red wine that's just flowing through the streets. What does that give you an idea of?
Blood.
Blood.
And
Blood
back
flowing in
back.
the streets.
And making the ground really muddy.
Right, and they're just drinking it out of the mud even. They don't even care because they're that desperate. So we have this scene of all of the people desperately scrambling to salvage some of this wine. And then their hands, their heads, their clothing, their faces stained red, and it looks like blood. And they're celebrating.
Yay, blood!
So keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. All right? So after the party's all finished and they've drunk all of the wine that they possibly could, they've salvaged as much as they could, Then we have a scene, so that's the setup. And we have a scene of, well, he says it 8 different times. So if we turn to in mine it's page 29, but it's several paragraphs in. We have a scene of hunger. So we had all this desperation at the beginning, we had this wine and this celebration, but now he's painting a picture of immense hunger, and he actually capitalizes it. He makes it this proper noun, almost like it's an actual thing that has these senses and motivation, and it's doing something to these people. So he's very graphic when he describes suffering, and I find that a lot with Dickens is that's why I've said, like, he paints his villains almost better than he paints the good guys in the stories, if there are good guys in the stories. He's so much more descriptive, and he brings to life the villains so much more that we see now hunger is a villain in this story. And it's in every single house. But you'll notice he capitalizes it all throughout this paragraph. It's mentioned, I think I counted 8 times, 8 or 9 times. We go on to the next scene, and there's want. Want is also capitalized. So he takes multiple pages to try to drive it into you, the viewer, that these people are dying of lack of necessities, lack of food and drink and shelter. They're starving. Winter is coming. It's November, remember? That rhymes. And where it's describing want underneath hunger here, there's a portion I'm going to read. It says, depressed and slinking though they were, eyes of fire were not wanting among them, nor compressed white lips with what they suppressed, nor foreheads knitted into the likeness of the gallows rope they mused about enduring or inflicting. What is he talking about here? This is a very difficult passage. What is he talking about here? He's talking about the people, first of all.
They want food.
They desperately do want, right? But they're ready for war, essentially, which you would be. If you're starving, you're dying, you're really starving. I mean, have you gone multiple days without eating anything at all? I never have. I've never gone multiple days without eating anything. I imagine, after I miss a meal and I'm already ready to fight. But can you imagine days, and this happens all the time, that you don't know where your next meal is going to come from? Maybe you can find some scraps. Yeah, you got some wine, it was spilled on the street, but that's all you get. You're going to be ready for action at any time, right? You're going to be probably driven by your instinct and emotion a little more than if you were fed and fine and you didn't have to worry about that. Yeah.
Some people who have gone without eating for long enough, when they eat food, they actually get sick because of it, because they've gone so long without eating food.
And it depends what you eat too. You can't just have anything. Yeah, it can definitely make you sick. It can even kill you. All right, so it's multiple pages that's describing just how desperate and poor these people are. And then I want to skip all the way to down where they're going to the wine shop. Okay, this is an important scene, and then we're going to find out who this mystery man is as well. I know I'm going to have to skip quite a bit because I want to make sure that I start the quiz in time. But so we're at, let's see, I know my paragraphs are not marked the same as yours.
The wine shop.
We're at the wine shop, and he describes what the appearance looks like. This is important too, the appearance of the wine shop. How is the wine shop different from the rest of the city? Or at least that neighborhood? Huh?
It is better than the others in this appearance.
Yeah, it is busy, it definitely is. It looks a little bit better. It kind of sticks out because it's actually nicer looking, better than most others in its appearance and degree. And the master of the wine shop stood outside it in a yellow waistcoat and green breeches, looking on at the struggle for lost wine. He's not trying to get some wine. He's not desperate like these people. He's looking at it. It was supposed to be his wine. He's not worried in the slightest.
He's doing really well because people.
What does this tell you? Yeah, he's doing better than those poor, impoverished people who are scrambling for the wine, right? He's dressed better than them. He has a waistcoat. And he has green breeches. I don't know. Sounds pretty fancy to me. Yes.
It's a parallel of like the nobles versus just the like serfs, being how the noble people just watch them
Kind of
struggle.
looking down on them, yeah, like, yeah, get your scraps, people, right? In a way, yes, definitely there's symbolism going on here. But we have this, another player, another character has come into the picture. He's the wine shop owner, right? Dickens often doesn't even introduce them right off the bat. It'll be like multiple pages beyond that he introduces them, but this is gonna be an important character. And so we're gonna skip a little bit ahead, and his wife is introduced by name first. So we actually know him by his wife being introduced, and her name is Madame Defarge. Madame Defarge. I don't care how you say it, Madame Defarge. However you want to say it, okay? Madame Defarge, his wife, sat in the shop behind the counter as he came in. She was a stout woman of about his age, with a watchful eye that seldom seemed to look at anything. Okay, this is an important description here as well, and he mentions it multiple times throughout this chapter and in other places. She has a watchful eye, but she seldom sees anything. What does that mean?
She's kind of blind.
No.
No, she sees everything, it just doesn't look like she does.
She sees everything, but maybe certain things don't concern her, and she's kind of, she knows what's going on, but she's not involving herself. Kind of like her husband in the previous scene when he's outside of the wine shop and he's seeing everything that's going on, but
Kind of
He's not
sounds like
concerned
she's
about it?
always listening to.
Mhm.
Like, she might not be seeing it. but
she's
always
observant, but she doesn't react or seem like she is, right? Okay. She's a very important character as well. So, skipping a little bit ahead, it talks about how she's dressed. She's dressed a little fancier too. She's got furs, so she can stay warm. That's not what everybody else is gonna have. Furs were, unless you actually hunted animals yourself and could provide yourself and your family with some furs, maybe, and you had enough that you could also sell to provide for your family, you're probably not gonna be wearing furs. All right, you had to have a little bit of money.
Rat fur.
Now, what is Madame Defarge doing?
Maybe.
She's knitting.
Knitting. She's knitting a lot.
Actually, she's not knitting, she's picking her teeth.
Well, she set it down and picking her teeth. But that's what she does. She's knitting. Some of you can relate. I know some of you guys like do crochet or embroidery, cross stitch, something like that, and you're constantly doing that, right? But she's constantly doing this. So she's got some money. She's a little bit observant, but she's not that concerned with certain things that are going on. And then we have Mr. or Monsieur Defarge introduced finally. What do they call him? His first name? They call him Jacques. Jacques. Okay. Jacques
Yes.
Defarge. All right, but I mean, he doesn't seem to be. There's something weird about when he's called Jacques. Okay, he kind of is like, yeah, my Christian name, right? So we have the introduction of him. I'm going to skip a little bit ahead, and we have them bringing up, and the stairs are very descriptive as well. In this wine shop, we have the stairs that lead up to the place where they're ultimately going to meet the specter, right? The person who has been buried for 18 years. Miss Manette, Lucy Manette, and Jarvis Lorry are going to go and meet him. Okay. And who's Jarvis Lorry?
Banker.
He's bank teller, yeah, he's handling the affairs. Who was his client?
Family lawyers.
Yeah, we're gonna find out
I have a
actually.
question about the jocks.
Mm-hmm.
So
Jacques.
so when they're talking, it's like they dress the same person several different times or different people as, it's a Jacques or whatever.
Jacques. Yeah, it's gonna explain this later.
Okay.
I know, it's kind of weird. He throws out some things and you're like, what? And then it doesn't come back for a long time. And you're like, was that just random? No, it's not random. We will get into that, but it's gonna be much later. All right, it'll be in book 2. All right, so he describes the staircase. This is symbolic as well, right? We're going up to something, but the staircase is described how?
Poisonous.
It's poison. It's an odor, a strong odor. It's not good. The staircase is decrepit. So they're leaving this wine shop, which is pretty nice, and then they're going up to this place, which is kind of almost like,
It's really steep.
yeah, it's like a tomb almost that they're going to. And who do they find inside?
The shoemaker.
The shoemaker. Right, but was he really a shoemaker?
He was not a shoemaker by trade.
Not really, not a shoemaker by trade, but he picked it up. Where did he pick it up at?
He
In
taught
there.
himself.
Huh?
He taught himself.
Sort of. He was let out to be able to go do this kind of on good behavior. He was allowed to go and learn this trade, right? And he's been doing it where? For like 18 years.
In that place.
Prison. Okay. Why would he still need to be locked up? That was one of the questions that's posed during this dialogue that they're having.
Because he might hurt himself, tear himself to pieces.
All right.
I think
He'd
you
be
go through that
unstable.
too.
This is important. This guy's important, and the reason why he's locked up, or still locked up, even though he's out of prison, he's technically free, but in a way he's not free at all. And we're going to talk about that because that will be on our quiz as well. All right, so Lucy is kind of skipping ahead a little bit more. Lucy is going to go and she's going to approach this man. She knows who he is, but he has no clue what's going on. He doesn't even know who he is. Whenever he's asked his name, what does he say?
100 and something North Tower.
Yeah, he gives the address of what?
Where he was held.
Where he was held in the prison.
105 North Tower.
He's completely lost his identity. He's not locked up physically. I mean, he kind of is because he's locked in that room, but physically he's technically free. Mentally, emotionally, psychologically, he's completely a prisoner in his own body. His mind is almost entirely gone. It's almost as if he had been buried alive. It's almost as if he were a dead man. And so now we're going to get the first touch of recalled to life as a major part of the book. So Lucy starts to talk to him, and at first she's talking in almost a riddle type way. She's not really telling him who she is, and he doesn't really understand who she is. But when he sees her, what's his reaction?
Is he remembering his wife?
Did you say who's Lucy? Miss Manette? Did he say what?
Is he remembering
Well, when he
his wife?
first sees her, yeah, he does think that for a second that she's his wife because he has a lock of his wife's hair. His wife is dead. She's been dead. But he has a lock of her hair that he's kept all that time in prison. And it matches her hair, which is golden, right? Which is an important part as well, symbolically.
Gold hair.
But he sees her and he almost thinks like she's an angel. Symbolically, what is this telling us? We're inside of this dusty, nasty, smelly, dank, upstairs, decrepit room in this wine shop. And an angel comes in.
He's dead.
What does it make you think of? An angel comes in and she's going to essentially recall this man to life. It almost sounds like when we're talking about Christ's resurrection and the tomb, there were two angels that were standing by and saying he's not here, right? He was recalled to life, he was resurrected. So in a sense, there's almost this like divine recalling to life, but she's not an angel. And eventually he realizes who she is. And what does this do to him?
He remembers his old life a little bit.
Yeah, he starts to actually come to and to make sense of things and to realize who he is and who she is and where he's been. But he's still battling this imprisonment of his mind. He's still not fully free. Yes?
Do you think that Dickens meant to have that parallel in there with Christ at the tomb?
I don't know, but I mean, all of the archetypes, all of the great symbology, it really is stolen from the Christian, the biblical worldview.
Yeah.
Because that's where all truth comes from, right? So anytime that you find some sort of a hero or redeeming factor or anything like that, good and evil comes from the Christian worldview. Anybody else is just borrowing it from our worldview. So, I mean, did he know that he was doing that? Probably not. I don't know. maybe he did. He did believe that he was a Christian. He just did not want to go to any church and believe in the Trinity. And so it's kind of like, no, no. All right, so he's making shoes. Anyway, this is what he's doing. He was making a lady's walking shoe, and he was finishing it as she comes up to him. That's very symbolic as well. He doesn't even know why he's making this lady's shoe. It's almost prophetic. All right, so he's a shoemaker. A shoemaker is, back then, actually, during the Revolution, when they were putting out propaganda to the people, the lay people, I think it was James Shoemaker was the name that they gave to the average kind of guy, like average Joe, you know, we would say, or something like that, or like a John Doe. They used the term James Shoemaker, of course in French, which I don't know exactly what that is, but so that's where they get it from. He was that influential. This book was extremely influential when we were talking about the French Revolution and beyond that. Yes?
My neighbor's name is Schumacher, so I wonder
Yeah.
if there's.
Well, that's what it, yeah, and it's probably German.
Yeah.
That's what it means, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so he's making shoes. This is important, this, we'll come back. Chapter 6. A few more minutes. All right, we're gonna blaze through chapter 6. So, we already started in chapter 6. She was kind of going along with his little fantasy so that she could kind of slowly, gently reveal herself to him because she did not want to overwhelm him. He might just completely shut down, lose his mind altogether. She didn't want to scare him. But she wasn't scared of him, which is odd because Lucy is like terrified and fainting almost at everything, right? She can't even handle news that's talking about who she thought was her late father. Yeah.
I think she kind of has pity on him, and that's why she's not scared of him. She's just
She-
like, you're, like, this is so sad, and you just.
Yeah, she loves her father. She really has a deep love for her father, and not even knowing him, but knowing that what he's been through. She doesn't know all of the story of it, but she knows this man has been locked away for 18 years, was put in prison before I was born, and I'm just now meeting him, and he's a shell of a man.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm your dad.
All right, so it describes him. We get a description of kind of what he looks like, right? And then that he's making these shoes and how he learned this and why he's still doing it. Why is he still doing it even after he's out of prison?
Because he didn't know what else to do.
The same reason that he's calling himself by the address of the tower that he was in. He's completely lost his own identity of who he was, right? And he even says that he learned his shoemaking by trade here. He says here. He didn't learn it there. He learned it in prison. He still thinks in a way that he's in prison. So she kind of brings him out of that. He's recalled to life, and it says yes for a moment. Yes for a moment. He kind of goes in and out of this prison of the mind. All right, but he sees her face, and that really brings him out of it. But he's still going to have this struggle. So, going beyond, I'm going to skip a lot of this. It's a lot of description. Once again, Madame Dufache, she is knitting and seeing nothing. Which, if she was really seeing nothing, we probably wouldn't be hearing about her knitting and seeing nothing all the time. Just saying, I mean, he says it multiple times. He says it over and over. She's just knitting and seeing nothing.
Spy.
Yeah.
And then we have Mr. Laurie. I'm not going to get his name switched. Like I want to say Larvis Jory or something weird. I always get it mixed up. Mr. Laurie, like the truck, he's stopped by the soldiers who ask him for papers, for all of them. You know, who are you? Who you got there? And what happens? This is kind of a weird scene. What happens?
He's like, here are the papers for the guy with the white head.
It's
or
like-
something.
I mean, okay. But then the soldiers are like, oh, no, you're good. Go through, you're good. This is strange, right? Soldiers don't do that. They don't just be like, oh, never mind, you're good. So we have a little bit of a foreshadowing here as to who these people are, or at least maybe one of them. We're not sure exactly what's going on here, but we'll find out. And at the very end of this first book, it says, I hope you care to be recalled to life. And the old answer from the man is, I can't say. So we have this inner turmoil still. Yes?
Were you gonna say his name is Mr. Boring?
Absolutely not. Mr. Boring? No.
Yeah. He is a little boring.
Alright, take one, pass around. Yes, what was your question?
So was the shoemaker there, like, in the wine keeper's, like, upper level?
Yes, because they would have lived above the wine shop, but he was in a own little
Was
attic.
he there a week or something?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Why was he a week?
We'll find out.
Mom!
We'll find out.